can't hear. We're also playing some more new brews with the turtle cards. Um, I was gonna play the affinity deck. That one's gonna be next on the docket because we really do need to get to it, even though it's a little bit standard. I don't know. But I was just a bit more excited about this one. This is a Jund Creativity deck, the kind of the same shell you might see with the the Thoughtseizes and the Lootings. Although instead of Persist, we're playing Goryo's Vengeance. This is because we've got this new card, Raph and Mikey, Troublemakers. 7/7 Trample Haste. Whenever you attack, you reveal cards from the top of your library to reveal a creature card. You put that card into play, tapped and attacking, and the rest in the bottom in a random order. So if you Creativity or Goryo's or Raph and Mikey, you're going to attack and you're going to get an Atraxa, an Emrakul, or a Griselbrand. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's kind of the best thing to hit, but you only want to play one because you don't want to hit another copy of Raph and Mikey off of your attack trigger. But this like weirdly enables you to play a legendary version of Creativity where, kind of simply put, I guess, if you're going to Creativity, you didn't want to hit multiple Traxas, you didn't want to hit multiple Griselbrands, you didn't want to hit multiple Emrakuls, and you want to play about four big tutor targets, and now there just is a fourth really good legendary card to play. I think this increases the power level of the deck by a pretty good amount. Goryo's Vengeance is just like a good bit better than Persist. And I'm also kind of excited about the main deck Emrakul for like the mill matchups, and then if your opponent kills all your stuff, you can like shuffle your threats back into your deck and you can Creativity again. It's like a pretty minor thing, but like I think it's an interesting angle of attack that the Archon build doesn't get. And you might think Emrakul's a bit bad in your with Goryo's Vengeance, right? Because it shuffles the graveyard, but it's actually really good with all of our discard outlets. Thoughtseize, Looting, and Fable. They're all like relatively cheap. So like on turn 3, you can Thoughtseize or Looting your Emrakul Goryo's Vengeance set. Or you could go Fable, discard your Emrakul, response to the shuffle trigger Goryo's Vengeance or Emrakul. They all work pretty well. Although maybe sometimes you're going to shuffle a graveyard when you didn't want to. For the most part, I think it's a pretty nice tool. Sideboard's a little bit difficult to build. One thing is you can't really play Charmal or Break the Ice because of your either like you don't want to Creativity into Charmal, like it wouldn't be the worst kind of thing. And you can't really cast Break the Ice very easily. So we're playing Price of Freedom instead as like our anti-Tron. Hey, I do think Tron is like one of the main matchups I'm pretty scared of. Dreams of Steel and Oil, pretty versatile sideboard card. Got some Ashioks for Titan and Neoform. Got some Veil of Summers. Got some Fire Magics. So let's go ahead and get into this in a league real quick. Should get a couple matches done. I wanted to play some Inquisitions, the main. Ended up going with like Cling to Dust and more creature removal spells instead. Alright, gotta keep this 7. This hand, it's pretty good if we draw Goryo. So on turn 3, we can Thoughtseize and Goryo's Emrakul. Would the Suspend Tutor be good in these kind of decks? You could play it. You could play it. I don't think I've ever played it in Creativity itself, but I think it could be fine. I think you've got enough redundancy to your combo. You don't need it. Does the green add a ton for this deck? You can see it's not a ton, but I do think Wrenn and Six is really, really good, and it doesn't cost you a lot to splash for it. But you could just be Rakdos if you didn't want to splash your Wrenn and Six. I do think that with the Lootings, especially the Wrenn and Sixes end up being pretty dang good. My opponent's on a Mold of 5 here. Sorry for it answered. What is the consideration of Pyroclasm over Fire, Magic, and Cyber? That is a good question. A lot of it depends on, do you have a lot of instant speed interaction, so you're representing multiple things when you pass the turn? This deck does. You've got Cling to Dust, Galvanic Discharge, Sheoldred's Edict. Another consideration is how is your mana curve? Can you realistically cast a 3-drop? Not all decks can realistically cast 3-mana spells on curve. This deck can, so that's another consideration for Fire Magic. Do you really, really care about a turn 1 Ragavan? I think this deck does really care about a turn 1 Ragavan. Decks like a lot of times when I play Pyroclasm instead, it's because I'm playing a like Nether Goyf, Moonshadow deck, and I'll just like block the Ragavan turn 1. And so I'll care less about being able to Fire Magic a Ragavan turn 1, which is another reason you want the Fire Magic over Pyroclasm. But so yeah, and then in the Rakdos build, I like the Pyroclasm more. Should you add one Steven Sarcastic Atraxa? No, you would also need a white source also. So you can still Hardcast Atraxa off Fable sometimes, but it wouldn't just be that one change. Let's go ahead and maybe I'll fetch Surveil first. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go fetch Surveil first so I can plus the Wrenn and Six. And then if I see a Goryo's Vengeance on top, I'm not gonna Thoughtseize. Called shot. That's called sequencing, dear chatters. We do have a second Blood Crypt to be able to go Thoughtseize ourselves and Goryo's Vengeance, the Emrakul next turn. I think someone said they posted no ban list decks somewhere. Does anyone know where? They posted on the Magic Online site. You can also find the list I've been playing on boxwood.com/user/aspiring spike. Thank you, Boxwood, for sponsoring the stream. We're also going to be doing a Card Nexus little promo later today. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors. I saw some posts saying Breach is back with the newer Sam Cam 5.0. Do you think strong new? Yeah, how close was it to we played it, I thought it was really strong. I think we 4-1'd our league, right? Or it might have been a 3-2 and then we like punted a match. But I would love to see the decks that you're talking about, because I'm interested to see how far they were away from our build. But I did think the deck was very good. I liked it. It was it's definitely a tough build, so I definitely can foresee people building the deck differently from where I landed. I Thoughtseize myself, everybody's favorite play. I take the biggest card in the format, and I Goryo's Vengeance. Now, this is a spot where we do get pretty punished for choosing to play Galvanic Discharge over Lightning Bolt, I guess. Although they just concede. I do think in general that just multiple discharges playing well together is valuable. So we're on the draw going into game 2. I'm going to bring in the fire magics here. Now, I decided not to play basic swamp, basic forest. I'm just kind of the opinion there aren't really enough blood moons to be that worried about it, and you're also like a pretty red deck anyways. Although, you know, you're going to lose the blood moon some amount of the time. I think I'm going to go down one Thoughtseize, both Sheoldred's Edicts. Maybe I want to play one Sheoldred's Edict and one less. I guess one less Wrenn and Six on the draw. And one L4 on the play, probably. Try this. You got the these are the no ban list leagues. Okay, so this one pretty different from my build. Yeah, I'm a bit worried of just like trying to assemble all the pieces like this without as much grindy card draw. I also think Grinding Station Urza is really strong, but I could see building the deck this way. My build is playing Crystal Skull so that all the cards could just be a bit more value-y, if that makes sense. Well, this looting might unflood us. Okay, they do have the Blood Moon. What was the decision on Shadow over the blue deck on Crystal Skull? I think it felt a little bit better while we were playing it, is the short answer. The Crystal Skull deck also, like, I thought it was strong, but a very hard one to evaluate, and I'm not convinced it was like built correctly either necessarily. I didn't think it was super far off, but all right, so let's discard. Well, they do have the Thraben Charm. All right, I'll just discard 2 lands here. We also might end up hardcasting this, especially if we like top deck a Fable. All right, they discard a Surgical Extraction. Now we're being much better against Surgical with being a Goryo's build is really nice. Let's see if they found a threat yet. A lot of good top decks. We could also just flashback the looting potentially. Another land, we'll say no to that. So there's the Fable. Yeah, I think with the Fable, there's I mean, maybe they're just gonna static prison my token, but this is only 7 mana. My opponent's not doing anything. I feel like I could possibly hardcast this. We could also like play Fable. They tap out of Thraben Charm. We draw Goryos. Surprise, no Vexing Bubble sideboard for Solitude. There's a really good reason we're not playing Vexing Bubble. Let me know if you can solve the puzzle on why that is. Okay, they've drawn a Goblin Bombardment. They are keeping up their Thraben Charm still. Seems like we should be waiting a turn on this. Although the Goblin Bombardment does make the plan to wait a little bit scary. Maybe I should have left the Dwarven Mine uncracked, and then I could have like responded to the Dwarven Mine trigger and like discharged the creature before they could bombardment it. Maybe that was better. They've drawn a Celestial Purge. Okay, so their hand is the Raven Charm, Static Prison, 2 mystery cards here. They play a Windswept Teeth. That's one of the mystery cards. They're gonna Static Prison my Shaman, I suppose. Oh, they play a Pride. Then they crack the fetch. So maybe they're gonna kill both. Yeah, I think I just definitely messed up by fetching main phase here. Seems like they're thinking about Raven charming my dwarf. Oh, they just sacked the cat. Interesting. I don't really know why they would do that. They could have done that at any time. All right, well, let's pass back here. They have just a Raven charm over there. Very weird game. Maybe I should have kept one more land too. So 2 lands away from hardcasting this. So now we just have a Griselbrand and an Emrakul in the deck. Maybe they'll just cash in the Raven Charm here. They do not. Oh my gosh, Flage is so annoying. So we're going to go down to 9, and then we literally can't even kill it. Okay. Do have a lot of good draws. Fetch land, Cling to Dust, Wrenn and Six. Oh, but they have Orym's Chance. And I've drawn a super interesting card in Goryo's Vengeance. So if my opponent does not draw a land, I can Goryo's the Atraxa here and block. So they have a Guide of Souls. So I'm going to want to Galvanic Discharge the Guide of Souls. They're going to put me down to 8. And then they can hit me for 7 more, which is not 0. Fire, Fear, Discharge. I don't have enough mana for that. Right? 1. Oh, I do have enough mana. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, so I also missed this response. Maybe I want to do that then. Yeah. Okay. And then untapping Goryo's. I spike the signups for 100 Burden are still open and think about going. Do you think it's worthwhile for someone who's about 3 hours away? It's definitely a very special tournament for the community. It's a nice wholesome community event. It's one that I've always enjoyed going to. It's also a good tournament with good pricing and all this. So if you're hungry to play Paper Magic, that's fine. I don't like driving 3 hours. I would drive 3 hours for Hunter Burton, but we'll see. I also like I don't think the cards I ordered are going to come in time. It's so hard to get cards for events. So I mean I'm sure I can borrow the ones that don't come in time. I decided to play the Dimir Flash deck. Oh, I don't hit a Dwarven Mine. I guess I could Wrenn and Six for 1 and maybe like hardcast the Raph and Mikey next turn. So we'll take land, sorcery, instant. So we have still Emrakul and Griselbrand next turn. So if we hardcast the Raph next turn, we'll be able to hit one of those two, which I think is what we want to do. You can Indomitable the Atraxa. Oh, that's true. Maybe that was just the move. Maybe that was just the move. Now, notably, if you put Emrakul into play with Raph and Mikey, it just stays in play. Could have also hasted the Raph. I could have Goryo's Raph that turn. Did I have a loot? Did I draw a looting? I guess I don't think I drew a looting that turn. All right, let's see if we hit Griselbrand or Emrakul. Both are going to be very hard for our opponent to beat. Emrakul is just lethal though with the trample. There's a looting in the vengeance pile. Okay, yeah, so you're right. We could have just done that there. Lured it, I guess. What a note, looking pretty good. Crushing Boros. Let's keep this on the play, I think. It's this versus the Super Shredder Shadow deck. Yeah, I really like how castable Raph is, and it seems so good. I did also like the Super Shredder deck. We got 40 minutes to decide here. Does Grafdigger's Cage stop Raph? I would think so. It enters from the library. Although it doesn't stop creativity. Alright, they mold a 6, we have a Thoughtseize. Up against Boros again. Feels bad to take the Ragavan when I have Wrenn and Six, but I don't have a green source, so I think I should take it. Have you played Roku in any Rakdos shells? Roku, Flip, Trigger Shredder, and Rat King. I think we have, yeah. Okay, we drew a green source. Oh, sorry, we drew a creativity. We did not draw a green source. I guess I'm gonna go discard 1/2. We know they've got Draven Charm. Juicy Brick with the 52 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I guess the Sheoldred's Edict gonna be a bit awkward here on this board, huh? So if they hold up Draven Charm, they can stop me from creativity-ing. Okay, that's really bad for us still. We can kill the Ajani, though. Card, World's Fight World. Doesn't get Goryos. No, what the hell? Oh, I must have clicked yield to all. Okay, I'm gonna concede. The yield to all versus okay is I'm too old to adjust. Alright, I'm gonna bring in the fire magics. And then on the play, have all 4 Wrenn and Six. Thanks again, Juicy, for the 52. Yeah, Paw Patch formation is interesting. One thing I don't like about it is like you already have Goryos to get around like the creature removal game plan. And then Paw Patch Formation is like a pretty weak card that you're playing to be more resilient against creature removal. And so I don't know how necessary it is. I kind of feel like I would rather just play a more controlling game plan with higher card quality. What we were dead, we weren't dead that turn, but we couldn't win because we couldn't creativity. Yeah, I also messed up because I needed to edict in response to the Goblin Bombardment trigger still on the stack before they could activate the Ajani. There's a window to edict the Ajani before they can activate it, but I accidentally clicked yield to all. Dreams of Steel always coming against Flage. With a deck like this, there's no always. You're a combo deck. For me, Dreams of Steel and Oil is more for like the Titan Neoform Tron matchups. We have Cling to Dust for Flage, so it's not like we're just completely cold to that. I think we can keep this 7 on the play. Hopefully they have not Guided Souls, but a Ragavan or an Ocelot Pride on turn 1. They do go ahead and they mulligan to 6. When they sacrifice Pride, no, you choose make them sacrifice Planeswalker. Choose Planeswalker. They only got 1 Planeswalker. All right, gonna keep that. So there's a moment where Ajani is a Planeswalker, but there's still a bombardment activated ability on the stack, where they're not able to activate the Ajani first. Okay, great. Oh, come on, don't tease me like this. Okay, fair enough. Imagine playing 1 toughness creatures in the Wrenn and Six format. So maybe they'll like dash Ragavan, kill the Wrenn and Six. They play a Voice of Victory. Pretty good against the fire magic. Certainly seems like a turn just to slam the Fable. Only Max for the 49 months. Welcome back. I remember when people wanted Wrenn and Six ban. Yeah, a lot of people acted like a Wrenn and Six ban was like a win, not if kind of situation. It's funny how good Wrenn and Six is on the play versus prize. He's almost no play. Like I do think Wrenn and Six is still a playable modern card. A lot of people act like it isn't, but I think it's more so the decks that would want to play Wrenn and Six are really super poorly positioned. Is this the best Wrenn and Six deck? Maybe. We played Wrenn and Six kind of recently. I think it's possible there's a build of Omnath out there. There's nobody hammering it out. And I don't want to be the guy to hammer it up. Probably said they're in a deck tech, but what is Kath playing? What is Kath? What is the catch? Playing Goryo's and legendary creatures compared to Archons that persist. Well, I mean, it should be kind of clear, right? There's a new legend that kind of lets you build a deck this way, where you get the fourth good legend, Raph and Leo. Is it Raph and Leo? Raph and one of them. I don't care. And then you have some other advantages, like Goryo's is more powerful than persist, and Goryo's is more powerful than persist, and you're more resilient to surgical extraction, and you have like a really good hard castable threat in Raph and Leo. Yes, your birthing ritual's better for the Omnath piles, I agree. I like the Cascade Ritual decks. Wrenn and Six is a mid-range card, and the mid-range decks are Boros, and that's the problem. Those aren't the only mid-range decks. There's also Jeskai, there's also Quantum Energy, but I would say that that's maybe the core of it, though. Do I want to make a token? I don't think so. Not with my fire magic in hand. So I guess I'm not going to get to minus the Wrenn and Six. That's okay. Or plus the Wrenn and Six for value. We can hardcast Griselbrand next turn. If you're scared of the Eldrazi matchup, you could drop the 4th Dwarven Mine for first Demons and play Consign side. Yeah, Consign, Splash and Consign makes a lot of sense. That might be right. I don't know if that's the exact change I would make, but might be. Would you consider a different Planeswalker that can both loot and creativity tokens over Wrenn and Six? Well, just tell me what card you're talking about instead of Spike, would you consider this mystery card? Like what card are you talking about? The old creativity list, I think, play 1 to persist. Who cares about that? I don't know, but sorry about that. I don't know where that came from. Let's hardcast Griselbrand. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I would have to let them flip the Ajani. That's probably okay. Well, I cast a Griselbrand. Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely seen builds with 4 persist. I know this. We're playing 4 Goryos, but also Goryos is just better than persist. Like Goryos is better than persist. I don't know what to tell you. I just really like it. I like it. I'm gonna keep it in the deck. Can they kill my Griselbrand second with the Ajani? I think they might be able to. Oh my gosh, they've got a Celestial Purge. We might be dead to this actually, because we're just dead, aren't we? Okay, let's keep the Boros list or the Shadow list of the challenge for now, or are we? Hold on. So this is yeah, we're dead. Okay, bummer. From there, anything's on the table as usual. All right, let's keep this on the draw in an unknown matchup. Game 1. Have I seen the mono black Super Shredder list in Legacy? I haven't. No, I would kind of like to take a look though if you got a list. The opponent's leading on Urza Saga, so either Affinity or Titan. Two very fun matchups. Looks like Affinity. Thoughtseize is usually much better against Affinity on the play. We do have some meltdowns in the sideboard, of course. Unfortunately, all the mystery looting, creating tokens suck. Yeah, you know, it's... In order for me to play one of those, it'd have to be good. Please subscribe. That will be $1 million. Your thoughts are mine. And or at least this thought is. Any No Bandless Modern decks are like, I have loved No Bandless Modern. I really like the Cloudpost deck. I liked our Jeskai Luris deck. I wanna update that one. There's like a few more No Bandless decks I didn't get around to, like just brewing and playing. I really want to play a No Bandless Modern tournament. Dude, they're playing Stalker at Legacy. Urza's Bobble and Mishra's Bobble is pretty cool. A little concerned about the lack of card advantage. Dude, Daze is the only blue card is sick, though. Like, you just have 2 Barrowglyphs to draw cards? Maybe that's okay. Alright, I cast Faithless Looting. Alright, did not find a green source. So I guess at this point the Wrenn and Six is kind of useless. So let's discard that, and... They can't make a construct. I think I'm going to keep the push, or the Thoughtseize for the sync. Is there just Bobble Modern Legal? No, you would see, you would know if it was Modern Legal. Imagine the breakthrough if we discovered Urza Bobble right now. Imagine the breakthrough that's like, there's a second Bobble in the format. I would have to hang up my hat probably. Days triggering Shudder just scratches the itch. Oh, dude, that's cool. I mean, I agree. It does seem really fun. I have kind of missed. I've been missing Legacy lately. If I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know why, but it used to be my preferred format, and it's been a long time since that's been the case. But all right, with this Aether Spellbomb, I guess we're gonna have to go discard 1, 2. Thoughtseize the sync probably, and then try to use the Fable to overpower the Aether Spellbomb. It's really lucky for us that the explosives on 1 instead of 0. On 0 is pretty tough. Okay, so they found an Emery, which is great for them. They're thinking about sacking a Spellbomb, I guess. They decide against it. Draw a Griselbrand, which isn't great. Guess they can discard it next turn. It's because it's more broken than Modern, and No Bandless Modern sparked my interest. Yeah, maybe. They draw a card with the Aether Spellbomb instead of bouncing the Shaman, which I don't exactly love. So I feel like they're going to have to Aether Spellbomb, or they're going to want to Aether Spellbomb the token. Yeah, I am shocked that Tamiyo is still legal in No Bandless Modern. That's one that, like, I would have just, like, for sure expected to be banned by now. They top deck the Kappa. This is maybe a blessing here. This is maybe a blessing if we can find a land to creativity. If I find Raph and Leo, we're forced the chump block on the Kappa. If we hit Emrakul, sorry, off of it, which we're kind of likely to. And then they're going to Blood Crypt. I missed what they targeted. They targeted Bobble. And they play the Bobble. Counter on the Kappa. All the Legacy players are begging for a Tamiyo ban. Yeah, I guess I just said this, but I am shocked that it's legal. Okay, so we can not creativity X equals 2 second main phase because they're just gonna block. So we might as well just target here. We can hit a Emrakul, we can hit a Atraxa, or we can hit Raph and Leo. We hit the Raph and Leo! And we force a chump block on the Kappa Cannoneer. Oh, sorry. We only force a chump block if we hit Emrakul, but otherwise we're hitting Atraxa, and then we're going to gain a bunch of life, which is also a good outcome. Alright, so... Trigger. We do hit the Emrakul. So they're going to take 17, 18, go to 2, and lose the Kappa. And also, this Emrakul stays in play. However, They can bounce it with an Emry. Raph and Leo's pretty dang good. It is like the best thing to hit in this deck, I think. For whatever that's worth. Probably want the Veils. Veils and Meltdowns. I think I'm going to cut the Fatal Push. I want the Sheoldred's Edicts. Going to cut the Clings. Going to cut Wrenn and Six number 4. Maybe cut Fable number 4 on the draw. I do really like the Discharges. I like the Thoughtseizes a lot. Could cut Wrenn and Six number 3. Sure. For the record, it's Mikey, not Leo. I listen. You know what? I'm gonna keep saying it wrong as an act of protest that for Wizards printing these cards. I just not only does each individual turtle have like 4 cards, there's also each possible 2 turtle combination. It's too much. Wizards of the Coast. This is my act of defiance. I'm gonna name 2 different turtles each time. I thought he's really good against Affinity, even though we're on the draw. I'm gonna keep this. I like having Discharge for Emry. Although also not being just being on the play, both these cards are so much better. You can kill an Emissary before they make too many tokens. Yeah, I like the idea of adding Steam Vents for consigns. Drop the Fire Magics and Meltdowns for. Oh, that's true. You could play Brotherhood in to kind of combine those sideboard slots if you want. I don't know exactly how much of a split, but I think that's fine. I was playing Brotherhood kind of recently, and I liked that tech. I guess I don't exactly know why I didn't do it here. Maybe it's all the Benadryl. So they do not have a second land, yet they refuse to play these Mishra's Baubles. Wait, why didn't they Emissary and just... Oh no, I'm going to take the Pinnacle Emissary. They top deck an Urza Saga, which is by far the best possible draw. So they get super rewarded. Just got here. Anyone tell me the goal of this deck? Our deck is a deck that's trying to cheat big creatures into play with either Goryo's Vengeance or Creativity and sort of control the game with removal spells and discard spells and the meantime. Kind of a classic combo control archetype. Alright, well they got 1 card in their hand. We could try to Thoughtseize it. I think I'm going to cast Looting instead. Try to dig to set up for this Creativity. Maybe find a Meltdown, although Meltdown against all the munitions is a bit scary. Okay, so we found Emrakul. If we can surveil into a black source, we can Thoughtseize our Emrakul and Goryo's Vengeance at next turn. Possibly instead of doing that, we would want to just cast the Fable and then Goryo's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, this seems like the kind of game where I'm going to try to throw an Emrakul at them next turn, and I might just still lose. We're looking for an untapped land. I do think I'm going to go for the Goryo's Thoughtseize, or Thoughtseize myself into Goryo's, but I don't draw it, and let's just go to game 3. On the play for game 3. We still haven't tested Affinity with Krang yet. I do think Krang is pretty good. This is not drugs. This is eucalyptics. I can never say that word. Eucalyptus leaves. Eucalyptus. I can never say that word. Let's keep my nostrils as open as possible for you, my sweet viewer. We possibly have the nuts. I'm sort of interested in maybe just holding up Discharge turn 1 and going for Goryo's Raph on turn 3 because we don't have the untapped black source in our hand and have the ability to discharge an Emissary. Was discarding Emmy to my Looting Alliance. So the problem with discarding Emrakul is that it shuffles your deck back in. So if you're going to go for the discard Emrakul, you have to respond to the trigger. You have to respond to the trigger. So I'm going to hold up the Discharge for Emry and Pinnacle Emissary turn 1 and just play it a little bit slower, although it doesn't seem like they're going to be playing either of those cards on turn 1 here. There's a Monk's Opal, and then they pass the turn. So let's surveil. We really want an untapped land, so we can just do the thing next turn. That's an untapped land. Nostrils wide open, chat. Okay, thankfully no Tormod scripts. Time to do the thing. Everybody pay attention. Turn your work meeting off. Stat. Discard a looting. Discard a commercial district. No, my gosh! No! Fuck, sorry. I don't know why I did this. Obviously, I need to discard the Raph. In my mind, I already discarded it. I'm so embarrassed. I'm having too much fun. I'm sorry, chat. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did. I just didn't discard the Raph. And I told, and right when I tell everyone to pay attention, so I'm so embarrassed. They didn't float a mana, and they're not playing skateboard. They have a Kappa Cannoneer. They have a Ravager. Let me discharge the Ravager response to this trigger so they have less to sack. Okay, they don't sack anything. I'm so embarrassed. I issue a formal apology. So maybe they've got a Rebuke available. Let's go ahead and get it tapped. Stomping Ground, since we lost our commercial district in the tussle there. Again, they are kind of representing a Rebuke, so maybe we go Thoughtseize, Flashback Looting, and then actually discard this card this time. They have a Consign. And they also have a Kappa Cannoneer. Let's take the Kappa Cannoneer and just allow them to consign a Raph trigger. I discard this. And I have to discard the Thoughtseize, because otherwise I Emrakul shuffle. Am I ready for next weekend? Maybe. I don't know that my cards are going to come in time. I ordered Wands and Consult the Star Charts and Undercity Sewers so I could build the Dimir Flash deck. And then I think I might be ordered them too late. I messaged them like, hey, can you send them a little faster? They're like, no. And so they might come in, they might not. So I may be scrambling, asking for cards. We'll see. Yeah, I might message you, Mikey. We'll see. Does Spike have a community Discord? There is one. I haven't been in there in like 5 years, and every once in a while I think about just deleting it because I don't know if anybody's in there. I don't know what's going on there. So no, I guess, but also yes. Is anybody in there? What are y'all doing in there? It's not. I haven't been in there in 5 years, maybe. All right, so they got a consign in their hand. They got a mystery card. Looks like they're gonna attack me with Lava Spur Boots here. Can see if someone can loan me the cards. Yeah, I can usually get cards from people, although I prefer not to be a burden if I don't have to be. Am I gonna chump block if they attack? Okay, so they're holding up. They're gonna hold up the claws activation and the consign. It's not bad. That's not bad, shit. Somehow we found a way to have like the sickest turn ever after our play. Just looking for some modern deck advice. Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to find it in there, but I hope you can. All right, so we blow up their board, and then we get to Raph and Mikey put in a Atraxa or a Griselbrand into play. And remember, they stay around too. The rat, this one doesn't, but whatever we hit does. Will you play Modern and Paper? I am this next weekend at the Hunter Burton Memorial Open, which I attend every year. I'm probably gonna play Dimir Flash. That's what I ordered cards for, at least. All right, so we'll take lands. I guess okay, then you can see. Great. We're on the draw against EDH player. Make a poll. I think this is more formal. EDH player indeed, huh? All right, let's just play Wrenn and Six turn 2. Thanks, Mikey. That is a big help. I appreciate you. We're on the boom against the boom bust deck. We're playing Wrenn and Six for gaming. I do think I'm just gonna stick to the Super Shredder deck. So like we'll still play this between rounds, and then like there's a good chance that we'll be able to like tweak the sideboard a little bit, and like I think I like the idea of splashing for consigns instead of playing Price of Freedom. I think that's a good change. It's been suggested a couple times. Wrenn and Six versus Boom Bust, classic. White Orchid Phantom themselves, I assume. Wrenn and Six in the year of Lord 2026. Wrenn and Six is still a playable modern card. It is a playable modern card. I declare. It just gets a bad rap because the decks that won it are bad. But I think the card itself is playable. All right, so they got the Hellkites are pretty good here. How good is the Elishnorn? It subs the Atraxa ETB, and that's it. Doubles up the Hellkite ETBs, which is good. Maybe I just take the Discharge so that I can Creativity next, or not next turn if they play a Hellkite though. Yeah, I think if we hit Atraxa, it might just still end up being fine. I'm gonna kill this before they draw Ephemerate also. I guess I'm probably gonna just kill the Inspector as well. Try to get the Wrenn and Six ultimated potentially. That could happen this game. Elstorn subs Dwarven Mines. That is true. That is a great point. Okay, thankfully they just played this into the Edict this turn. So let me Edict this now. Sacrifice a non-token creature of your choice. Anyone will do. And I think I don't want to open myself up to Prismatic Ending on a Dwarf, so we'll just pass here. Their hand is 2 copies of Magmatic Hellkite, which will stop me from Creativitying X equals 2. But I will be able to Creativity X equals 1, unless their last card is another copy of Galvanic Discharge, in which case we might be in bad shape. It's not. It's a 3-bit Inspector, so we're going to get a Dwarf token. No reason to wait anymore. All right, spinning the wheel. We could hit a Griselbrand, we could hit an Atraxa, or we could hit a Emrakul or a Raph and Leo, or a Mike Donatello. I don't care. We hit Atraxa. Let's grab Griselbrand, Goryo's Vengeance, Faithless Looting. That's a pretty good pile of cards, huh? Theater, maybe? I guess I'd rather leave the Theater in the deck. Take another Mire. And then discard. We can discard Griselbrand to hand size. That seems appropriate. They sack their clue token. Their hand is Hellkite, 2 mystery cards. And we are up a game. So we're 2-1 up a game. There's a challenge that's starting in like 6 minutes. Hopefully we can get this game 2-1 pretty quick. We're on the draw against Boros Boom Bust, which we're not particularly prepared for. I'm going to play a Dreams of Steel and Oil over a Fatal Push potentially. And I'm going to click that submit button. Well, we might be able to Thoughtseize ourselves to Goryo's. Very likely we play this in the challenge Monday, but I do agree we need to tweak it a little bit. I think I do like the idea of cutting the Price of Freedoms and splashing for consign. All right, so cast another Thoughtseize. We'll take one of the 2 Hellkites this turn. I might get a Black Source here. Creativity of Noir if they're desperate. That's a good point, yeah. Right, they do keep a card on top, so they can have some action there. I guess if I draw a big thing, I'm going to looting it away instead of Thoughtseizing myself. Yeah, so let's go cast looting, see if we draw a thing to Goryo's. We do. We draw the best one, too. So let's go ahead and ignore their Magmatic Hellkite, which seems pretty doable. Get a second black source. Will we hit Griselbrand, Atraxa, or Emrakul? Emrakul lethal. Oh, they don't even let us see. Okay. Well, we're 3-1 with this deck. Probably playing too many lands. 16 with 7 Moxes. I feel like it's just too many mana sources in this kind of deck. Also, the Fleshrakers look so uncastable. Holy shit. You have 6 sources to cast Fleshraker. That's pretty sus. Okay, on the draw for our 4-1. I'm going to keep the Emrakul in our hands so that we can potentially set up to Goryo's it. Maybe a little ambitious, but I think probably worth doing instead of keeping Wrenn and Six number 2. Would I change? Yeah, I mean, if I was going to play the Fleshraker combo, I would try to have like minimum 10 sources probably. Yeah, I mean, Eldrazi Temple pretty good, and then you get to play K Command, and you guys will lead more into that. Maybe move away from the Chromox stuff to facilitate. All right, well, we do really want this to resolve. We'll see if it does against Meticulous Archive Scalding Tarn. Could just be Jeskai. For Hunter Burn, our deck lists due on arrival. Do you have to spin online? Now listen, I'm not affiliated with the event, but I am pretty sure that they are due on arrival. But I don't know. I signed up 2 days ago. Yeah, Ibnu Rivulet would be a nice upgrade, I agree. Painlands even. They got a Riddler. Should we have left up Discharge for this? Maybe. You have 10 sources. Wait, was there Rivulet in there? If there's 10, that's fine. I didn't see Eldrazi Temple. Spire of Industries also seemed like strictly worse than Rivulet there in that build. Okay, let's just plus and Discharge, I think. What do you think about Does Machines, and is it Steel Cutter Temporal Trespass? I liked Does Machines when I played with it. I like that it flips Tomio turn 2. As I don't know for sure if it's a card that I would want to keep, but overall I had a positive impression with it in the combo deck. All right, I cast Fable. Oh, sorry about the audio dying. Maybe I'll be able to make it out to Micro Center today or this weekend. They can sign the Shaman trigger. Okay. So I do think that I'm going to be discarding the Emrakul to the Fable trigger, even if I don't draw Goryos. We get 2 more looks at it. And it would be kind of cool to Goryo's Emrakul and play Fable this turn and set up for Creativity X equals 3 the following turn. Not that we have to do something like that. Maybe they have Flage plus Consign. Am I dead to that? That's a 9 plus 4, which doesn't put me dead, but it means I can't crack the second Fable token. I guess I can chump with a Dwarf here, which I'll want to. I can Creativity X equals 2 next turn. I know I can do that, and we're likely to. Although I can't do that any longer because of the damage coming in. I can only Creativity X equals 1. I guess one issue too is like Goryo Emrakul. They leave Flage. Maybe we're not even doing that good against that. I guess we could block again. Maybe they'll have a Discharge. Isn't it 12 plus 4? Maybe I miscounted. Looks like I did miscount. Still the Dwarf token if they don't have Discharge. They do have Discharge. Okay, well that was a lot to fight through. And we did not fight through it. This matchup's a little bit weird. They don't really play a lot of like actual counter magic. It's like Consign, which Veil Summer doesn't do anything against, and then they'll have like Strict Serenade, which we don't care much about. So I think I might play the Dreams of Steel and Oil and play one less Fatal Push. Click submit. On the blade. Mulligan to 7. Let's keep this. I do think I want to keep the Atraxa. Let's put the Dwarven Mine back. Why no Archon persist in the Jund version? Too much of a nombo with the new turtles. Yeah, the new turtle, Michelangelo and Raffalondo is a legend, which means it can't be persisted, so it's awkward to play persist with it. So certainly seems to me like instead of it seems worth trying to build a Goryo's version. And we have Goryo's the card, and it's been like the best possible play. It's like it is insane when you get to do it. You only have one copy, but you do have a lot of dig for it. And you're gonna draw it sometimes. The turtles say Cowabunga. Lore Masters. Cowabunga. Lore Masters. They say Cowabunga? To be respectful to cows, I spell this with a K, by the way. Kind of hard to say no to second Fable, so we don't have to. As a vegetarian, I have to spell with a K. So I'm going to kill my Shaman token. Probably discarding these two unless there's something else. Obviously, we could jam Creativity X equals 1, but it's pretty weak to Solitude. My opponent's Surgical's Bloodstained Mire in my main phase here. They're going to look pretty dang silly if I draw Goryo's Vengeance. Being better against Surgical has been really real so far this league. It's like at least our second Surgical opponent. It might have been our third. I almost feel like this is a tell. Also, the Surgical Extraction, but I think I'm still supposed to jam the Fable. Did not draw the Goryos. Although they know most of my hand here. All right, let's exile this Flage. I'm gonna loot away the Galvanic Discharge. So we get X equals 3 second main phase. I think I'm just gonna go X equals 2 here. So if I hit Raph and Leo, I get to attack with it. That is a downside to the card, I think. We did hit it though. That's an upside to the card. Now, if they had a Solitude or a Discharge, they should have used it already. So we're about to put an Atraxa or an Emrakul. Oh, sorry, it's just Emrakul. There's only one left. So we're going to win the game. All right. I guess they could consign the trigger. Okay, never mind. Not going to win the game. Not this turn, at least. Drawing Emrakul next turn would be bad. So I'm going to try to hold off on the Griselbrand. Well, I could probably Goryo's the Emrakul if I drew it. Alright, so they evoke a Solitude main phase. Do they have Ephemerate? They must have just drawn this. They exile my Raph. No Ephemerate. They're currently dead on board. Then they warp a Riddler. Should have definitely warped a Riddler and then responded with the... No, I guess that doesn't work that way. Never mind. Alright, so going to game 3. Going to game 3. This is for the 4-1. Beautiful hand. Can discharge a Ragavan. Thoughtseize turn 1 into Wrenn and Six. Beautiful hand. Deck's been looking pretty good. Opponents on a multi 6. We're on the draw for the last round of this league. Last game of this league. So why don't we take the Fable and plan to Galvanic Discharge the Felia next turn? Is it BM if people beat you? Come to stream and talk about the match after? No. Okay, interesting they decide to surveil this turn instead of cast. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to click the Felia off. But I guess we'll just get the Wrenn and Six down. So yeah, Felia Flage, Consign, Mystery card. I think we'll exile the Flage. Might be an ultimate Wrenn and Six game. Tino, great to see you, buddy. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well too. So they drew another Flage. They didn't decide to wait for the Consign. Wrenn and Six tanks a hit here. We draw an Atraxa. I know my opponent's hand is Solitude Consign, so I think next turn we could go looting Goryo's Atraxa. So I think I should just Creativity. If I hit Emrakul and then they draw a white card for the Solitude, we get to gain 15 life. It's not really even that big a problemo. Raph and Leo. Raph and Leo. Let's go. All right. We get to keep the Griselbrand in play. This card is good at creativity. I don't know what to tell you. Or I do know what to tell you. I tell you that. So we do get the 4-1. There's 3 matches. It's Raph and Mikey. I'm protesting these naming conventions. And I need you in chat to help me by calling it 2 different turtle names each time. I'm protesting.